Today's video is not just about YouTube. It's about pain. It's about failure. It's about feeling lost and invisible. Maybe you know this feeling. Maybe you've tried something many times, but nothing works. Maybe you've worked hard, but no one sees it. You feel tired. You feel alone. You start to believe that your dream is not possible. If this is how you feel, then this story is for you. YouTube didn't begin with success. It didn't begin with fame or money. It began with failure. The people who created YouTube were not famous. They were not rich. They didn't have a big plan. In fact, their first idea failed. People laughed. People said, "It won't work." They felt lost, just like you may feel now. But they didn't stop. They tried again. Just one more time. They followed a small idea. They took a small step. And that step changed everything. Maybe you are in a small room right now. Maybe you feel like giving up. But I want you to stay. I want you to hear this story, because it's not just about a website. It's about human strength. It's about trying one more time. It's about you. If YouTube can grow from failure, maybe you can too. So come with me. Let's begin this story together. A story of rejection, pain, hope, and quiet power. A story that can give you the strength to try again. Because your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Let's go back. Back to the beginning. Before the world knew YouTube. Before the views. Before the likes. Before the billions of videos and the millions of creators. There was silence. There was nothing. The year was 2004. The internet was still young. Videos were hard to share. You had to download big files. You had to wait a long time. Most people didn't know how to send or upload a video. There was no simple way to do it. No easy way to show your video to the world. Now imagine 3 young men. Their names were Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim. They were not famous. They were not rich. They were just regular guys working at a company called PayPal. They were smart, yes. But more than that, they were curious. They asked questions, and one small question changed everything. That question was simple. Why is it so hard to share videos online? That's it. That was the beginning. A small question, a quiet problem, a little frustration. But that's how big things begin, with small problems that no one else is solving. While others were busy with big ideas, these 3 men were focused on something simple. Let's make video sharing easy. But it wasn't easy to build it. In fact, their first idea had nothing to do with YouTube. They tried to make a video dating site. The idea was that people could upload videos to meet other people. They thought, this is new, this is exciting, but no one liked it. No one used it. It was a failure. They called it Tune-In Hookup, and almost no one remembers it. Why? Because it didn't work. People didn't want to use it. The world said no. Imagine that. You have an idea. You believe in it. You build it. You launch it. And no one comes. No one cares. No one clicks. That kind of silence hurts. That kind of rejection makes most people quit. They feel embarrassed. They feel ashamed. They think, maybe I'm not good enough. But these 3 men didn't stop. They listened. They watched. They looked at what people were trying to do, and they saw something interesting. People were trying to upload videos, but not to date. They just wanted to share moments, fun clips, life events, news, random things. So they thought again. They asked another question. What if we make a simple site, just for uploading and watching videos? It wasn't a big idea. It wasn't full of fancy technology. It was just a place to post a video, nothing more. But it was something people needed, something the world didn't have yet. And so, in February 2005, they started again. A second try, a quiet new beginning. They bought a domain, youtube.com. They didn't have a big office. They didn't have big money. They worked from a small apartment. They used secondhand equipment. They had no fame, no team, just belief, just effort, just one more try. They uploaded the first video on April 23, 2005. The video was just 19 seconds long. It was called Me at the Zoo. It showed Jawed Karim at a zoo talking about elephants. That was it. No music, no effects, just a simple moment, a real human moment. And that moment, though small, was the start of something big. People started visiting the site, slowly, quietly, step by step. They found it easy to use. It felt real, it felt simple, and people wanted more. So they uploaded their own videos, funny clips, family events, pets, music, life. YouTube was not perfect. It was not fast. Sometimes the site crashed. Sometimes it didn't work well. But people stayed. Why? Because it gave them something new. A voice, a space, a home for their stories. At first, no one believed it would grow. Other companies laughed. Investors said, "It's not special." Big tech giants ignored it, but the users didn't ignore it. People kept coming. People kept uploading. People kept watching. And this is the heart of the story. YouTube didn't grow because of power. It grew because of people, because of pain, because of one small question and one quiet answer. The beginning was not loud. It was not full of light. It was slow. It was soft. It was quiet. But it was real. It was honest. It was human. That's how dreams begin. Not with loud noise, not with big money, but with quiet effort, with small steps, with courage to try again, even after you fail. And maybe that's where you are right now, at your quiet beginning. Maybe your first idea didn't work. Maybe no one listened. Maybe you feel embarrassed. Maybe you feel small. But remember this, so did they. The founders of YouTube felt that too, and they kept going. Because sometimes the world says no before it says yes. Sometimes you must walk through failure to reach success. Sometimes the second try is the one that works. YouTube was born in that quiet space between rejection and hope. And look what it became. But in the beginning, it was just 3 people. A bad first idea, a better second idea, and the strength to keep going. So never feel ashamed of your small start. Never feel like your quiet beginning doesn't matter. Every great thing begins somewhere. Every story has a first page. Every light starts in darkness. And now you know the beginning of YouTube. A beginning full of mistakes, doubts, and second chances. This is not just their story. It can be yours too. Step 2. The deep challenge. The beginning of YouTube was quiet, but very soon the problems began. The idea was simple: let people upload and watch videos, but making that idea work was very, very hard, and not everyone believed in it. Many people laughed. Some said, "It's just a silly site for cat videos." Others said, "No one will ever use this." That kind of judgment hurts. The world can be cruel to new ideas. It can be cruel to people who try to do something different. When something is new, people often don't understand it. They fear it. They reject it. They try to kill it before it has time to grow. The founders of YouTube felt that rejection again and again. They tried to raise money, but investors said no. They tried to talk to big tech companies, but no one was interested. "It's not safe," some said. "It's too simple," others said. People thought YouTube was a joke, a small site, a passing trend. But the hardest part wasn't the words. The hardest part was the struggle behind the scenes. The site was growing fast. People were uploading more and more videos. But the servers were weak. The systems were slow. The company had no big money. Every month they ran out of cash. They had to use their own savings to keep the site alive. Can you imagine that? Every day you wake up and wonder, can we pay for this? Will the site crash today? Will people stop using it? It was stressful. It was scary. It was lonely. Chad, Steve, and Jawed were not sleeping well. They worked long nights. Sometimes they didn't eat properly. Their small team worked in a cramped room. There was no comfort, no safety, just pressure. And there was another problem: copyright. People were uploading music videos, movie clips, and TV shows. Much of this content was owned by big companies. And those companies were angry. They sent legal letters. They said YouTube is stealing. They said shut it down. It was a storm. The small company was in the middle of a legal war. Big media companies had powerful lawyers. YouTube had almost nothing. The founders were afraid. Every day they thought, maybe today is the last day. The dream felt like it might die. People on the outside saw the funny videos, the cool content, but inside, it was pain. It was fear. It was fight after fight. Still, the team didn't stop. They answered emails. They removed videos. They wrote apology letters. They changed their systems. They worked all day, every day. They knew if they didn't move fast, YouTube would be gone. But even with all this pressure, people kept coming to the site. Users from all over the world. Young people, old people, students, parents, artists, musicians, dreamers, people who wanted to be seen, people who wanted to be heard. And that was the light in the dark. The users, the people, the hearts behind the screens. They gave the founders hope. They gave them the strength to keep fighting. But not everyone was kind. Some people were rude. Some wrote hurtful comments. Some said, "This site is trash." Some made fun of the creators. They said, "You're wasting your time. You'll never succeed." Do you know how that feels? When you give your heart to something and someone laughs at it? When you try your best and people only see your flaws? The founders felt that pain deeply, but they had a choice. They could stop, or they could keep going, and they kept going. Not because they were strong, not because they were brave, but because they believed in the people, believed in the idea, believed that one day the world would see what they saw. They were tired, yes. They were afraid, yes. But they believed. Many nights they sat alone, looking at the screen, fixing problems. The site crashed. They fixed it. The uploads were slow. They fixed it. Videos were blocked. They fixed it. Again and again and again. No one saw the work. No one clapped for the late nights. No one gave them awards, but they didn't care. They were building something real, something human, something powerful. Their dream was not fame. Their dream was freedom. A place where anyone could tell a story. A place where no one needed permission. A place where the quiet voices could speak. But the fight was not over. The company was still losing money. Every day, more users meant more videos meant more cost, and more cost meant more risk. At one point, they didn't know if they could survive another month. They thought, maybe we have to shut down. Can you imagine that? You build something with love. You grow it. People enjoy it. But you still might have to stop because the world doesn't see your value. But just when things were darkest, something changed. One of the biggest companies in the world noticed them. Google. But that moment, that turning point, we will talk about next. For now, remember this. YouTube almost didn't survive. It almost disappeared. Not because it wasn't good, not because people didn't like it, but because life is hard, because building something new is painful, because the world is slow to understand new ideas. So if you are building something and people don't believe in you, remember this: you are not alone. If you are trying and no one is clapping, remember this: you are not alone. If you are tired, scared, and ready to give up, remember this: you are not alone. The people who created YouTube felt exactly like you. They were laughed at. They were ignored. They were rejected. They were scared. But they didn't stop. And neither should you. This is the deep challenge, the dark part of the story, but also the most powerful part. Because this is where the strength is born. In the pain, in the pressure, in the quiet moments when you want to give up, but you don't. And that's how the story continues. Step 3. The turning point. Every dream reaches a moment when everything feels too heavy, when you feel like giving up, when the world says it's over, when the pressure is louder than your hope. The founders of YouTube were in that moment. The site was growing fast. Millions of people were visiting. But the company had no money left. The cost of running the site was too high. The bills were rising. The problems were growing. And every day they thought, maybe this is it. Maybe we can't do this anymore. They didn't sleep well. They couldn't relax. Every small mistake felt big. Every delay felt dangerous. They loved YouTube. But love didn't pay the bills. The world was enjoying the videos, but behind the screen the team was breaking. They needed help. They needed something to change. Fast. And then something happened. A company called Google started to notice. Google was already huge. It was the king of search. Millions used it every day. But Google did not have a good video platform. People were not watching videos on Google. They were watching them on YouTube. Google's leaders saw the numbers. They saw the growth. And more than that, they saw the potential. At first, the YouTube team didn't know what to expect. Big companies usually don't care about small startups. But this time was different. Google reached out. They asked questions. They listened. And soon, something amazing happened. In November 2006, Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion. It was a shock. The world couldn't believe it. A simple site, created by 3 friends in a small apartment, was now worth over $1 billion. News reporters were talking. Bloggers were writing. People all over the world asked, "What is YouTube? Why is it so valuable?" But the answer was simple. YouTube was not just a website. It was a voice, a platform, a new way to connect the world. It gave power to people who had no stage before. It let anyone, from any place, speak, create, and be seen. For the founders, this moment changed everything. They were no longer fighting alone. They now had support. They had money to pay the bills. They had teams to fix the bugs. They had lawyers to handle the copyright issues. They could breathe again. They could dream again. But even with Google behind them, the YouTube team didn't stop working. They didn't become lazy. They didn't lose their purpose. They remembered the pain. They remembered the long nights. They remembered the people, the users, who gave the site life. So they kept improving, step by step. They made the upload process easier. They made the video player better. They added features. They listened to feedback. And slowly, the site became stronger. But the biggest change was not in the code. It was in the world. Before YouTube, people had to wait for permission to be seen. TV stations had to choose you. Radio shows had to invite you. Movie studios had to pick you. If they didn't, your voice stayed silent. But YouTube said something powerful. You don't need permission. Suddenly, a young boy in a village could show his art. A shy girl could sing to the world. A teacher could share lessons. A father could post his child's first steps. A comedian could tell jokes. A gamer could show how to play. A speaker could give a message of hope. And this happened because 3 people refused to give up. Think about that. One decision, one moment of courage, changed the internet forever. What if they had stopped? What if they had listened to the critics? What if they had believed the laughter, the doubt, the rejection? The world would be different today. And this is the message for you. You don't know what your next try could do. You don't know what your quiet effort could become. You don't know how your dream might grow if you just hold on a little longer. Sometimes the turning point is right after the hardest moment. Sometimes the help comes when you are about to quit. Sometimes the light comes right after the darkness. The founders of YouTube were scared. They were tired, but they stayed open. They kept going, and because of that, the right door opened, and they walked through it. Yes, Google gave them money, but before that, they gave themselves something more powerful: faith. Faith in their idea, faith in their work, faith in the people who believed in them. You don't need to know the whole future. You just need to take the next step. You don't need to see the mountaintop. Just take one step forward. That's what they did. And that's what you can do too. The turning point in any story is not magic. It's not luck. It's courage. It's choice. It's trying one more time. So if you're listening right now and you feel lost, keep going. If you've been rejected, keep going. If you're tired, rest, but don't quit. Your turning point may be close, your Google moment may be coming, but you'll only see it if you don't give up before it arrives. This is the part of the story where hope comes back, where the storm begins to break, where light starts to shine. But remember, it didn't happen by chance. It happened because they stayed. So stay. Hold on. Believe. Keep building. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because the world is full of surprises. You never know who's watching. You never know who you're helping. You never know what door will open next. Your quiet effort today may be the reason someone smiles tomorrow. Your hidden dream may be the next light for the world. So take that deep breath. Take that next step. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are in the middle of your story, and your turning point may be just around the corner, just like it was for YouTube. Step 4. The silent growth. After Google bought YouTube, many people thought YouTube would grow fast. They believed everything would change quickly. But real growth doesn't happen in one night. It takes time. It takes quiet work. It takes patience. YouTube did not become a world-changing platform in a day. It grew slowly, step by step. And during those early years, the growth was silent. It was not big or loud. It was not full of attention, but it was real. Even with more money and better technology from Google, YouTube had to keep proving itself. It had to stay useful. It had to keep its heart. The team behind YouTube knew something very important. If they stopped working hard, the dream could fall apart. So they kept building. They didn't relax. They didn't take success for granted. They stayed focused. They stayed humble. And they remembered why they started. Because people wanted a voice, a place to share, a place to be seen. In those quiet years, something beautiful happened. People started to upload more videos, not because they were famous, not because they were rich, but because they had something to say. A man uploaded a video of his baby laughing. It was simple, but it made people smile. It reached millions. A teenager sang a song from her bedroom. She had no big lights, no microphone, but her voice touched hearts. A teacher shared a lesson about math, and students from around the world learned from it. This was the quiet power of YouTube. It gave normal people a voice. It gave them a place to speak, to teach, to connect. You didn't need to be on TV. You didn't need anyone's permission. You just needed courage. You just needed a story. And YouTube became that open door. Still, not many people outside truly understood what was growing. They thought YouTube was just for silly videos. They laughed at it. They said, "This is just a trend." But inside the platform, something deep was happening. A change, a new way of life, a new kind of media. A media that came from the people, not from big companies. It was not polished. It was not perfect. But it was honest. It was human. The YouTube community started to grow stronger. People returned every day. Viewers watched, liked, and shared. Creators made more videos. Some of them worked for hours to create just one video, and most of them didn't make any money in the beginning. But they kept going. They were not doing it for money. They were doing it for meaning, for connection, for purpose. And YouTube saw this. They noticed the love. They felt the passion. So they started helping more. They improved the platform. They made it easier to upload videos. They created playlists and likes and comments. They introduced the YouTube Partner Program. Now, for the first time, creators could earn money. It was not much at first, but it was a beginning. This small step changed everything. Now people who loved making videos could turn their passion into their work. They didn't need to work in offices or big studios. They could work from home. They could be their own boss. They could grow with their audience. This was a new dream. And it was starting to come true. But again, it was slow. It was silent. It was not a big explosion. It was small wins, quiet progress. It was one video at a time, one lesson at a time, one smile at a time. This is how real growth works. It is not quick. It is not easy. But it is strong. It is deep. It lasts. YouTube did not become great because of one video. It became great because of thousands of small efforts, millions of small voices, people who kept showing up, people who didn't give up. Even when no one watched their videos, even when they had only 5 views, even when they felt tired or afraid, they kept going. And slowly, the world began to notice. More people came, more creators joined, more stories were shared, more lives were touched, and YouTube continued to grow. But it never forgot its roots. It kept listening to the creators. It kept improving the platform. It kept building with love. They added subtitles. Now people from different countries could understand each other. They improved the search system so people could find what they needed faster. They added more tools for creators to edit, post, and manage their videos. These changes may look small, but they were powerful. They helped people feel supported. They helped creators feel respected. And they helped the YouTube dream stay alive. But still, many in the media world didn't believe in YouTube. They said, "This is not real media." They said, "It's just a toy." But the people knew better. The creators knew better. The viewers knew better. Because they were learning. They were laughing. They were connecting. They were growing. And it was real. YouTube became a stage for everyone. A classroom, a music hall, a place to cook, to dance, to speak, to listen, a place to be yourself. That's what made it powerful. It didn't try to be perfect. It tried to be real. And that's why people came back again and again. The most powerful part of this story is this. YouTube grew not through big money or big names. It grew through small efforts by normal people. It grew through heart, through faith, through hard days and late nights, through people who believed in their message even when no one else did. So if you are building something today and no one is watching, don't stop. If you are sharing your work and it feels small, keep going. If you are dreaming and others don't believe in you, believe in yourself, because this is how all big things begin, in silence, in patience, in love. YouTube's silent growth teaches us something very important. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to be big to be powerful. You just need to keep going. Day by day, step by step, one small effort at a time. You might be in your silent season right now. The season where it feels like nothing is happening, where your work feels invisible. But please remember, this is the season where your roots grow deep. This is the time when your foundation is built. And one day, just like YouTube, your quiet work can become something that touches the world. So don't be afraid of slow growth. Don't be afraid of the silence. That's where magic begins. That's where dreams are shaped. That's where power is born. Step 5. The bold move. As YouTube continued to grow, something big was about to happen. This was not just a small change. It was a bold move, a new step, a moment that would take YouTube to a whole new level. But this step was not easy. It was risky. It was brave. It needed trust. It needed belief in the future. People loved watching videos on YouTube, but now, some people wanted more. They wanted to do YouTube as their job. They wanted to become full-time creators, but they were scared. How could they make money? How could they survive? Many creators were working all day and night. They were tired. Some of them had families. They had rent. They had bills. And still, they made videos. They believed in their passion. But passion was not enough. They needed support. They needed a path. YouTube saw this need. They felt the pain of the creators. And so, they made a big decision. In 2007, YouTube launched the YouTube Partner Program. For the first time ever, creators could earn money from their videos. YouTube would share ad revenue with them. This was a huge change, a bold move, and it changed everything. People did not believe it at first. Can I really earn money from my videos? They asked. Is this real? Yes, it was real. And slowly, creators started seeing their first payments. It was not a lot at first, maybe just a few dollars. But it was a start, a beginning, a light of hope. This new idea gave creators something powerful. Freedom. Freedom to dream. Freedom to grow. Freedom to choose a different life. Now they didn't need a boss. They didn't need a studio. They didn't need to ask for permission. They could speak their truth, and they could be paid for it. Young people started to believe. A teenager in a small town could now dream big. A woman in her kitchen could teach recipes and feed her family with her income. A man with a camera and a kind heart could make videos and change lives. The world of work was changing. The world of voice was changing. At first, there were only a few creators in the partner program, but they were brave. They took the risk. They kept uploading. They tried new things. They made mistakes. They learned. They failed. They tried again. And slowly, their videos started to get more views, more comments, more love, more income. And YouTube kept listening. They made it easier for creators to see their earnings. They improved tools. They helped creators understand how to grow. This was not just a platform now. It was a family, a global family of people who believed in stories, who believed in learning, who believed in connection. Soon, some creators started to become famous. They had millions of subscribers. People waited for their videos. They were no longer just YouTubers. They were leaders. They were educators. They were entertainers. And they inspired others to join. But fame was never the main goal. The true power was in the message, in the freedom, in the ability to touch hearts. That is what made the bold move so special. It gave power to the people. It told them, you matter. Your story matters. Your voice is important. And many people who once felt invisible now felt seen. They had a place. They had a chance. YouTube became a stage for everyone. Not just the lucky, not just the rich. Everyone. It didn't matter if you were young or old, if you had a studio or just a phone, if you could speak English or another language. Everyone had space. Everyone had hope. Of course, the journey was not always smooth. With growth came new problems. Some people used the platform in wrong ways. Some made harmful content. Some tried to cheat the system. And YouTube had to respond. They had to make rules. They had to protect the platform. They had to protect the viewers, and the good creators too. This was hard, because YouTube didn't want to silence voices, but they also wanted safety. So they worked day and night. They built better systems. They added guidelines. They listened to the community. It was not perfect. Mistakes happened, but the mission stayed the same. Support honest creators and keep YouTube free and open for the world. As years passed, the YouTube Partner Program became a dream for millions. It opened a new world, a world where your job could be your joy, where your voice could become your gift, where your story could travel across the planet. And this bold move also helped viewers. Now, they had more to watch, more to learn, more to feel. They were not just watching TV anymore. They were watching real people, honest people, people who looked like them, who lived like them, who struggled, laughed, cried, and grew, just like them. YouTube also started rewarding creators with play buttons, silver, gold, diamond. These were not just awards. They were symbols, signs of hard work, signs of impact. A reminder that the world listened, that every small video mattered. The bold move also made YouTube different from every other company. Others waited for success, but YouTube believed in people before they became famous. They gave tools to the small creators, they helped them grow, and in return, those creators gave back. They gave love. They gave value. They gave life to the platform. Now, in many parts of the world, children say, "I want to be a YouTuber." This is not just a trend. It is a new way of dreaming, a new way of living. And it all began with one bold move, one decision to say, let's share the success. And you have the same chance. Maybe your voice is quiet now. Maybe your video has only 10 views. Maybe no one claps for you. But remember, all great things begin small. All strong voices start in silence. And maybe one bold move from you can change your life too. So don't be afraid. Speak, create, try, fail, try again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest. You don't need to be famous. You just need to care. That's what the YouTube story teaches us. That bold moves are not just for companies. They are for people, for dreamers, for you. Step 6. The global stage. YouTube was no longer just a small website. It was now a movement, a wave of change, a new world that was growing every day. People from every part of the planet were clicking, watching, listening, and creating. The dream that started in a small room in California had now become a global stage. It was open to everyone. It welcomed all voices. It listened to all stories. In the beginning, most of the videos were in English. Most creators were from the United States or the UK. But slowly, things began to change. People from India, Japan, Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Russia, and many other countries began to upload videos. They shared their culture. They shared their food. They shared their language. They shared their music. And people loved it. Viewers from other countries began to explore. They started watching things they had never seen before. It was like traveling the world without leaving home. For the first time, people could learn about other countries in a real way. Not from books, not from TV, but from real people. A young girl in Africa could share her morning routine. A chef in Mexico could teach his grandmother's recipes. A teacher in Korea could help students with English. A mother in Turkey could vlog about her family life. These stories were real. They were full of emotion. They were full of truth. And they connected people deeply. YouTube helped break down borders. People started to understand each other better. A child in Germany could learn to dance from someone in India. A teenager in Brazil could get inspired by a creator in Egypt. The world was talking to itself, and the language was video. As YouTube grew across the globe, it began to face new challenges too. The internet was not the same everywhere. In some places, it was slow. In others, people didn't have strong phones. YouTube listened, and they acted. They made a lighter app called YouTube Go for areas with slow internet. They added subtitles and translation tools. They supported local creators. They wanted everyone to feel included. YouTube also began to support different languages. They made the platform work better in Hindi, Spanish, Arabic, and more. Now people could see recommendations in their own language. They could search more easily. They could feel at home. More and more creators started to rise from new places. Some had no studio, no lights, no fancy camera, but they had a voice and a story and heart, and that was enough. Some became local heroes, some became global stars. but all of them had one thing in common. They started small, and they stayed real. YouTube began to open creator spaces in cities like Tokyo, London, São Paulo, and Mumbai. These were places where creators could learn, collaborate, and grow. It didn't matter how many subscribers you had. If you had a voice, you were welcome. This helped people dream bigger. It helped them feel seen. It gave them tools to rise. The global stage also brought new types of content. Some people made comedy videos, others made music, some danced, some cooked, some taught, some told stories. The beauty of YouTube was this: you didn't have to be someone else. You could just be you. And there was always someone out there who wanted to listen. With so much content coming in, YouTube worked to improve the way videos were shown. They made better algorithms. They created new tabs like Trending and Explore. They added shorts. They made live streaming easier. They kept testing. They kept changing. Because they wanted to keep the platform fresh. They wanted people to feel excited. One of the most beautiful things about YouTube's global rise was how it gave hope. In many places, jobs were hard to find. Young people felt lost. But now, they had a path. They could start a channel. They could teach something. They could entertain. And maybe, just maybe, they could build a life from it. This hope changed lives. It changed families. It changed whole communities. Many stories came out of this global journey. A poor boy in the Philippines made funny videos with a second-hand phone. 1 year later, he helped build a new home for his parents. A village girl in India taught math online and helped thousands of students pass exams. A father in Egypt started a cooking channel and opened a small restaurant from the earnings. These were not movie stories. They were real. People often say, "The internet is dangerous." And yes, there are bad sides. But YouTube showed the bright side, the kind side, the side that heals, teaches, connects, and lifts. It showed that technology can bring people together if we use it with heart. And viewers were not just passive watchers anymore. They became part of the journey. They liked, they commented, they supported, they donated, they gave love. The line between creator and viewer became thin. Everyone was part of the experience. Governments and schools also started to notice. Some teachers used YouTube videos in classrooms. Some doctors gave health advice through videos. NGOs used it to raise funds. Artists used it to reach new fans. It became more than just a video site. It became a powerful tool for change. YouTube also gave a voice to the unheard. People who were ignored in the past could now speak. People who were afraid could now be brave. YouTube was not only a place of fame, it was a place of truth, of healing, of growth. Of course, YouTube still faced criticism. Some said it favored big creators. Some worried about hate speech. Some were afraid of misinformation. But YouTube kept working. They built teams to check content. They listened to feedback. They made rules clear. They added fact-check panels. They were not perfect, but they were trying. And that's what the world saw. Not a perfect company, but a growing one. A company that wanted to serve. A company that cared about creators, about freedom, about learning, about unity. Now, when you look at YouTube, you don't just see a screen. You see a window to the world, a place where a song from Africa can reach New York, a place where a kid in Bangladesh can teach coding to the world, a place where someone like you can say something simple and still touch hearts. The global stage is now open to you too. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a big team. You just need courage, honesty, and one small step. Maybe that first video will be shaky. Maybe no one will watch it. But maybe someone will. Maybe it will change their day, or their heart, or their life. That is the gift of YouTube. It started small. It grew with pain. It took bold moves. And now it gives the mic to the world, to you. So ask yourself, what story are you holding inside? What truth do you want to share? What skill can you teach? What joy can you bring? The stage is waiting. The lights are on. It's your turn. Step 7. The heartbeat of the future. YouTube is not just a website. It is a living, breathing thing. It grows, it listens, it changes. It feels like a big heart beating across the world. Every video, every comment, every story, it all adds to this heartbeat. It connects people from every country. It speaks every language. It understands every emotion. But where is this heartbeat going? What is the future of YouTube? The truth is, nobody knows exactly. The internet changes fast. One day a trend is here. The next day, it is gone. But YouTube has one strong power. It listens. It adapts. It does not stand still. It keeps moving forward. One big part of YouTube's future is learning. More and more people now use YouTube to learn something new. Some want to speak English. Others want to learn how to cook. Some learn how to fix a car. Some study history. Some learn about mental health. Some just learn how to stay strong. YouTube has become a classroom without walls, a classroom where anyone can be the teacher, and anyone can be the student. This is the power of the platform. You do not need a degree to teach. You do not need perfect grammar to speak. If you care, if you share, people will listen. The future of YouTube is in the hands of people who want to give, who want to serve, who want to help others grow. Another part of the future is connection. We live in a world that sometimes feels lonely. Even with phones and apps, many people feel alone. But YouTube gives people a place to belong. You can find others who think like you, who feel like you. You can find a voice that speaks to your heart. Or maybe you can be that voice for someone else. There will be more tools in the future, more features, maybe better search, maybe better translation, maybe better ways to connect. But tools are just tools. What matters most is the heart behind them. What do we do with those tools? Do we build walls or do we build bridges? YouTube wants to build bridges. It wants to help people talk, understand, share, laugh, learn. It wants to give people a safe space to be human, to be honest, to be creative. And that is a beautiful mission. In the future, we may see more short videos, or maybe more long-form storytelling, maybe new formats, new styles. But one thing will not change. People will still come to YouTube for real voices, for stories, for truth. Big companies may try to control it. Algorithms may change. But the soul of YouTube is not in the code. It is in the creators. It is in the viewers. It is in the people. You may feel small. You may think, why would anyone care what I say? But remember, every great creator started with zero. Every big channel started with nothing. No views, no subscribers, just one idea, one heart, one voice, and the future needs more voices. It needs yours. Maybe your voice will help someone smile. Maybe your voice will help someone learn. Maybe your voice will save someone from giving up. That is how powerful your voice can be. YouTube gives us this gift, the gift to speak, to share, to connect, to rise. Not all platforms are like this. Some want to keep you quiet. Some want to show only perfection. But YouTube lets you be raw, be real, be you. So what should you do? Start small. Make one video. Maybe it is just your thoughts. Maybe you teach something. Maybe you tell a story. Don't worry if it's not perfect. No one starts perfect. Just begin, and then keep going. Talk to your viewers. Even if it's just 5 people, help them, respect them, thank them, make them feel seen. And when you fall, because you will fall, get up again. Some videos will fail. Some comments will hurt. Some days will feel heavy. But don't give up. Keep walking. One step, one video, one kind word at a time. That is how creators grow. That is how stories spread. That is how dreams rise. And one day you will look back. You will see your journey, and you will smile. Because you didn't quit. You stayed true. You gave your heart. The heartbeat of YouTube's future is not in machines. It is in people like you. People who care. People who try. People who want to make the world just a little bit better. YouTube will keep growing. New countries will join. New creators will rise. New voices will shine. But the core will stay the same. People sharing with people. So remember this. You don't need to be famous to matter. You don't need millions to make a difference. You just need honesty and the courage to try. The world is waiting. Someone out there needs your voice, your light, your lesson, your laughter, your love. So pick up your phone, open the camera, and say something true. Say something kind. Say something that matters. This is the end of our story. But really, it is just the beginning. Because the story of YouTube is the story of you.